I don't know what just happened. I clicked the button and it started and then it stopped. This house we're staying in on Hilton Head has gremlins. I'm sure of it. All kinds of weird things happening. So who knows what will happen tonight on the Loco Sports Lowdown. Final one of 2023. Justin Jarrett joined you as always by Wes Kerr, talking sports here in the South Carolina Low Country and putting a bow on the year, so to speak, by taking a look at what went down today. The two big events being the Bluffton Bobcat Classic, where the Bobcat girls got the title. They won the championship. You were there, Wes, tonight. We'll talk about that in great detail shortly with Coach Rico from Bluffton, the assistant coach, as well as the Shark Invitational, which I'll give an update on later on. I was out there for a good bit of the day and got to see all that action. South Effingham taking home the team title, May River third. Gunnar DeGroat, the only Lowco champ, which is a testament to how good this event was. The field was really outstanding. But Coach Rico is standing in the cold outside Buffalo Wild Wings, where they're celebrating that Bobcat Classic title. So let's get him in here. Coach Rico, welcome to the show, man. Congratulations on getting the dub today. Yeah, I mentioned before the show you look chilly, but I know there's a real warm celebration happening inside.
Indeed it is. Thank you guys for having me. Yes, it's pretty chilly out here right now, but I'm glad you guys can get me on.
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure to cover this game tonight and really culmination of another tremendously successful week. So that's 2 tournament wins during the holidays. You guys going on the road last week and now taking the home tournament. And this one has to mean extra special to get it done in your own gym here over these last few days.
Yes, it does. The girls here, this is a senior heavy class we have here. And for them to pull together and get this victory here in the championship game of the Bluffton Bobcat Classic is pretty huge for us.
No doubt. And you mentioned those seniors. We've all gotten to watch them grow up together over the last few years. And certainly Takoya, we got to know her first, but then some of her classmates came along a year or two later and started to find their place in
it's
the picture.
Funny because
it's been fun to watch them.
It reminds me of 4 years ago when you guys won the girls tournament and it was Takoya Hayward who's the up and coming star, supporting Tatiana Aiken. Now 4 years later, Amira Brown is playing the role of Koya, and Koya was kind of the tried and true leader. So how cool is that to see the evolution of this team and to see those veterans stepping up, but also the new up and coming stars like Amira.
I tell you, Takoya is the heart and soul of this team. The coach on the floor, all the accolades that go with that, and we share with her, coach on the floor for sure. And Amira Brown is a talent, and she doesn't realize how good she can be. I mean, she's very offensive, far as scoring wise and everything. But when she sets her mind to it, she can play some great defense.
Yeah.
But these girls here, I don't know the numbers exactly, but I'm quite sure they are probably the winningest seniors in this program's history. And that's going back to that's going back to Tatiana and so forth. But great class. I'm going to miss them when they graduate for sure.
Yeah, there were a couple pretty good senior classes early on, but they didn't have even a full 4 years to rack up wins. Like they were kids that kind of came in as sophomores or juniors and stuff. So this senior class definitely has a bunch of dubs and has contributed to a bunch. That's the thing. Is like, I mean, Takoya has been a key contributor since she was an 8th grader. But in fact, to kind of piggyback on your point there, Wes, in that championship game when you guys won it in 2020. I was looking back, on that researching because we couldn't find evidence of that on Max Preps. It was Tatiana got in foul trouble in the championship game, and the 8th grader Takoya had to step up and kind of carry the load. So it's kind of like that changing the guard. And then today you got Amira leading the way. So I thought that was kind of cool to see a second verse same as the first kind of situation.
It is indeed. I'm sorry. I recall that game as well too. Tatiana did get in foul trouble, and Takoya did carry us on. And Alabama Carver left the gym thinking that Takoya was our only player and didn't account for Tatiana the championship game. Indeed. And so,
That,
and today, uh, Woodmont was, they were thinking that the Koi was the only piece we had, and then Amara stepped up, and I'm not sure how many points she had for the game, but she played pretty huge for us today.
22, made a couple of key threes early on that second half to mount that comeback. Then that clutch one when they got within one, and then she banged it from the top of the key to make it a 4-point lead, and you guys just kind of pulled away after that. So a huge 3-pointer early or late in the game, and a couple early as well as we look at the highlights. But Jim was popping, Bobcat Classic girls finale here with the just take me through this game because it was not looking great early. Woodmont was having their way, especially inside, and they got up to like an 8-point lead. So, tell me about how things changed and what you guys were able to do to get back in it.
For us, we wanted to start off by seeing what they had for us offensively and defensively. And we recognized right away that their point guard was pretty good. They have great post play with their players inside and out. And so our objective was to kind of tire out their point guard in the end. That's why we ended up going to the man-to-man in the middle of the first quarter, I do believe. In the tie, I think it changed for us because it got us to moving our feet and running up and down the floor more to get us back into the game.
Myra, man, seeing her knock down those threes. It's not just the points and the contributions, but she's an energy kid too, man. When she gets hyped up, she gets everybody going, right, and just
And
elevates everybody to a different level.
indeed, she does. And like any young kid, she missed a couple of shots. She gets down on herself, and you kind of
Yeah,
have to, reassure her, hey, the next one's going down. Just play good defense, run the floor,
yeah,
and your offense will come to you.
yeah. You're gonna get
Yep.
another shot. That emotional maturity will come.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still very young,
Yeah.
but man, the raw talent is just unreal, and
It is unreal.
good people developing it too. In the AAU circuit with H2, and just a lot of good people in her corner. I think she's going to be a real talent.
Yes, indeed, she is. She is indeed.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at the rest of this
Coy.
game into the fourth quarter, where Woodmont was trying to get back in, and they, as I said, trimmed it to within one. But it wasn't just Amira or Hayward, but I thought other guys made some big contributions. I look at Jalaza Mosley picking up a couple keyboards and some steals on that final stretch. Maddie Washington as well, just a good presence inside there. And then another that really got the gym pumping as the time ticked down. And someone who I'd love to see give praise to because it's someone we haven't really talked about is but Tamira Bolden, that steal and bucket right at the end, absolutely massive from an unsung hero. So just talk about some of these other players stepping up in the fourth quarter of a championship game and getting it done.
I tell you, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen without Jelena and Maddie in the paint
Oh yeah,
grabbing these rebounds and doing what they do down
Yeah.
there. They both have been outstanding this year as far as getting the rebounds. And Maddie, she gives us a post presence, and we kind of get her to. She's now starting to face up to the basket, taking the small jump shots instead of trying to be the bull in the China shop, so to speak.
yeah,
uh, and Jelena, she has always been a great rebounder. She gives you a timely bucket when you need one. Matter of fact, just last week in the tournament up there, she won
oh
with
yeah,
3 point at the buzzer for us. It was a big
Yep.
shot for us.
Yeah.
You
yep.
Look at
know,
that pass. That was beautiful. To
it
That's
was
a nice
it was
pass.
yeah,
gr- it was great
Mosley.
to see those young ladies execute.
There you
With
go.
like 7 seconds.
There's the steal right there.
The Bolden steal.
Bolden
Yes,
Yeah,
steal. Yes.
and Tamara Bolden. She has been thrust into that fifth spot, her and Emma Kate, and they have done good things so far for us. But she stepped up and got that steal, and it kind of energized us, in the
yep.
fourth quarter going forward. I mean, I was yelling at her to pull it back, let's save some time, but she was hell bent on going to the bucket and use her left hand making the layup and everything,
Yes, you
which is
did.
which is
Yes, you
huge.
did. Yeah, that was nice. That was nice. I'm sure it was a no. Yes. Yeah, it's
Exactly what it
situation
was. No,
because
yes.
but you love it that the kids got that because you can't like teach that instinct to want to see the path to the basket and want to go make the big shot. Like a lot of kids will
Right.
shy away from that, and so you can't, you don't want to tame that out of them, but at the same time you're like, oh no, the situation. So you're so glad that one went down for her. But no, I think we talked with Takoya early in the season, and she was pretty honest about like, man, going into the season, she wasn't too sure how this was going to go, just because of the lack of depth and everything. But I think they've embraced that kind of thing where it's like, hey, we're all we got, and it's ride or die. I
Right.
think they like that warrior mentality, and it seems to suit this particular group of kids. Am I right?
You're right, and we knew, all of us knew going in, we were going to be a little short-handed. We hated we lost Katie, who's happy to
Yeah,
come visit this week. But we happy that she's in a good place now. But we knew right in, we call it Iron Woman basketball right now because we
yeah,
know we can get at least 6 players in that's going to come in and contribute to what we're trying to achieve here. Uh, And so our season start off with just conditioning, and we run and
yeah,
practice so much, and we try to encourage them and say it's not for punishment. It's so we can finish these fourth quarters off when the other team is grabbing their shorts and they're tired.
yeah,
And the game last night proved our point that conditioning helps you win games.
yeah,
And so we have some young JV players on the roster for the for the season for tournaments and stuff, and they're not starting to believe that I'm not running for a punch, I'm running so we can win games. And they saw
yeah,
the effects of that this weekend.
Yeah, and you guys have had to battle back, mostly these last two, but really in all three games, there were times that you guys weren't looking yourselves and you found ways to adjust. So, speak about just the desire and that, extra level of intensity that they brought throughout this 3 day stretch, a very challenging 3 day stretch against, some quality opponents, especially this one. It's a solid 5A South Carolina school. And also really cool to have an all South Carolina title game. It doesn't really happen very much with all the teams coming in from out of state, but yeah, just talk about the desire of this team and the want these last 2 weeks and to claim two championships, but especially this one, the back half with three straight games in 3 days.
I tell you, excuse me, it all starts with the girls. They bought into the huddle account, and they watch film, the scout films on all the teams we play, and we pretty much have a game plan in place before we get to the gym and work on it. Takoya, Jelena, and Maddie, they are constant on the huddle accounts
yeah,
watching for tendencies on these teams. And so sometimes it makes my job easy. Before I can say anything, they spit it out already. Who the shooters
yeah,
are, who the bigs are, and so forth. Uh, Even going into this weekend's tournament, we kind of had an idea what Foresight wanted to do, who their main player was, and so forth. When we played against, I think it was Foresight last night. Only thing we couldn't account for was how fast and speedy number 3 was, and she took off on us from jump. And we had to make adjustments for her speed and everything. I mean, I think she had like
yeah,
20 points in the first half.
yeah,
But
yeah. Some things don't
That
translate
was
on
the
video, right?
not at all. That girl, she was getting it, man. I tell you.
yeah.
Well,
I
yeah, you see that
believe
every now and then too. Somebody who's just got a little extra juice tonight for some reason that you're like, whoa, where'd
that
that
was
come
a
from?
Cypress Bay was the second game you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes,
Forsyth was the
yeah,
first game. Cypress Bay
yeah,
that was a strong team as well. That you guys had to
yes, indeed.
yeah,
overcome a second half deficit
yeah,
alongside or a deficit midway through the game of 7+ points. So great resiliency and the will in this team. As I said, it's been terrific to watch. But I mean, two straight tournament wins in the same number of weeks. I mean, just your thoughts on what this team can accomplish going forward into region play and beyond.
Right now, we talked about that in our pregame, our postgame yesterday, going over the schedule for the rest of the year and going into New Year. We have a chance to go ahead and I think it'll be what 5 Pete. I think it is.
Yeah.
going into the
Yeah.
region play, and we're looking at Lucy Beckham and of course James Allen as our teams that we're gonna pay particularly close to. But I
Yeah.
do believe that we have a great chance of repeating it as champions in our region. And of course, our Achilles heel has always been that second round game.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things we're looking forward to, the challenge of trying to get past that second round and going a little
Yeah.
further than we've done before. And
Definitely
I'll
got
say
a lot of sourness built up there that I think is going to motivate those seniors come playoff time.
indeed, and I shared with the girls several times that it's great. We I call ourselves the neighborhood bullies. I mean, we can beat any team in our area within an hour
Yeah.
stretch, whatever. But when we step out our small pond into a bigger pond, this is where we have our issues.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what we did this year was we went up north early and played tougher teams
Yeah.
up north, and we tried to bring schools not from to our tournament that would give us a challenge going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what you guys
Well,
have done, and I
yeah,
wish you had been full strength for military magnet, but
yeah.
that's how it goes. But yeah,
Uh,
get it,
while
Indeed.
Wes,
while
and then we'll let Coach go eat
while
his
you're here,
wings.
Coach, good effort from the boys team this week, placing fourth and nearly taking down Marietta. But Carnell Warren putting up some strong performances in these past few games. He has been quite the spark plug, really picking up where he left off from football season. So, just have you been able to see any of the boys' games and kind of what do you think about that squad going forward?
I'll tell you, watching Coach Gabriel has been refreshing because I've seen these guys play the past couple of years, and watching what Coach Gabriel's trying to achieve I think is going in the right direction. And I'm just hoping that the boys are buying in. He's actually a really good coach, and I saw it the first week when with the ball movement and the drills he was running with the guys and so
Yeah.
forth. And of course he brought Jamie on and he's a ball of fire anyway.
Yeah, he
You
is.
know.
Jamie is. Yeah, he's a great hype man. Everybody needs a hype man like Jamie.
Yes, indeed. And so, I just see them going in the right direction with Coach Gabe and Jamie at the helm right there.
Yeah.
I just hope to see them do well because if they're doing well, the crowds will come out more and they see the girls play
Yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah, yeah. You get that little fourth quarter bump when they start showing up for the boys' game. We got to get more people
Indeed.
out to the girls' games, but you guys usually draw pretty decent for your girls' games, though. You get, Miss Brown's out there. She's attracting the crowd. She's got Bridget Frazier coming out to the games now. Like it's starting to become an event to go see the Bluffton girls. So we're looking forward to riding with you guys the rest of the year. But we'll let you go get after those wings, brother. We appreciate you and congratulations.
Thank you guys for having me. You guys have a happy new year and be safe, please.
All right, you too,
Thank
man.
you. You
Take
do the
care.
same.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Coach Rico from Bluffton High School girls basketball. Love that dude. I always see him around at the games. See him at the USCB games. Just see him at the restaurants, like just around town. He's always a happy face to talk to. So enjoyed getting him on the show and getting his insight on the team. He's been on that bench for a good while now.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
showing by those
yeah.
Bobcat girls, man, picking up the W.
Really,
Well, let's
really
shout out
quality
some
one.
sponsors real quick before we go too much further. The MVP sponsors of Loco Sports, Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of Loco Sports, and my wife. She's with the Keller Williams Group of the Low Country, and she would love to help you find your place in the Loco. And when we find that perfect home, we'll call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official home inspectors of the Loco. My friend Jan Lucas and his team will make sure it's the perfect home for you and a great investment in this Loco real estate market. And when it's time to sign the papers, we'll go to the Mickelson Law Firm, official real estate closing attorneys of Loco Sports and our original sponsors since 2017. Still with us, love Ryan and Tiffany and the Mickelson Law Firm. So go see them for all your legal needs. And finally, Hospice Care, the Low Country. Great place, great nonprofit here in our community, providing hospice care, palliative care, and free grief counseling. Great place to for those donation dollars end of year, looking for that tax write-off. Don't forget Hospice Care, the Low Country, where it's not about dying, it's about living. Those are our MVP sponsors. Wes, any final thoughts about that Bobcat Classic before we shift gears and talk a little wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it starts with that girls team and what they accomplished, winning 2 titles in the span of 2 weeks, and the way they were able to come from behind twice really spoke to me about how that team is bought in, how they just wanted more. I thought in the second half, really the difference was Decoya, chasing after loose balls, Amira doing the same, and really Mosley and Maddie as well providing that strong presence, both rebounding, because they were getting outworked on the glass midway through that game, and they really found that extra spark to get those boards, and that really changed the tide of the game alongside Amira knocking down some shots from deep. So tremendous performance from that Bluffton team. What a game that was. Woodmonts, that's a quality side. Cypress Bay was a great team too. That's two tremendous wins for the girls, and the boys are on the right track. So it's nice to see them get that first day win, and obviously they're kind of outmatched in day two against a really good Marvin Ridge team. I did not stay for the championship game, so hopefully we can get to tweet something about the boys final to get back and charge my phone and get some highlights up. But yeah, great tournament, well run event, and it's awesome to have not just the Holiday Classic, but another holiday tournament over in Bluffton to see some quality teams from out of state and to see our teams get tested, because you got to seek out competition this time of year to get better, and we're seeing so many of our squads do that. And I mean, these past few weeks have helped so many of those teams around here and even North LeBron as well, with Whale Branch and Hampton County joining in.
Yeah, no doubt. Marvin Ridge won the boys game 48-37.
They look good. They look good last night. They were on it. That's a quality basketball team.
Yeah, no shame in listening to them for the Bluffton boys. I mean, that's a quality squad indeed. Couple other basketball scores, not much terribly notable. Hilton Head Christian girls lost 62-41 to Grant County. I didn't see the cross girls score, but I know they were up. Did Rob send a final on that one? No, he just started fussing about it. Yeah, he just told us the refs sucked their out of the gym. We never got a final score. But they played Palmetto Christian. It could be on the Max Preps, possibly. We'll look it up here real quick. No, it's not. Also, Orangeburg Prep girls won the gold bracket at the IP Builders Holiday Classic over Florence Christian, and Thomas Hayward won the silver bracket in the boys. I don't know. That's what I know. Carolina Invitational boys, Palmetto Christian beat Cross Schools 66-46. Bishop England beat Hilton Christian 66-49. So HHCA goes 0-3 in that thing. Oof. Although the one loss was in overtime, the other one was close.
Those are some strong teams.
Yeah, that's a rough,
0-3
draw.
it doesn't matter at the end of the day. I mean, you're building, you're growing the team. So, I mean,
you can say like that's a tough draw, but that's why you went, right? Yeah. Like you didn't go to get pushovers, or you wouldn't have made the trip for that. So I think it's fine. That's what these things are for. They're like glorified exhibition games almost. So it's not really that huge of a deal. But great showing by the Bluffton girls. It's you get out of it what you get out of it. If you win the championship, that's awesome. If you don't, then you figure out what you need to work on. But let's shift gears and talk some wrestling, sponsored by our varsity sponsors, DDS Web Design, Parker Law Group, and Reverence Wrestling Club. DDS Web Design builds, hosts, and maintains websites for small businesses and nonprofits so they can get found online and get results, so they can do more and think bigger. You can see it at ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group provides legal services to Hampton, Jasper, and Colleton counties, and they've come on board to help us continue to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving student athletes and teams across the Lowcountry. And Reverence Wrestling Club is the presenting sponsor of the Grind. The Lowco Grind will be coming back with that next weekend. I think we're moving to Saturday nights for the Grind, although that's kind of up in the air. We're trying to figure that out for now, but we're going to talk some wrestling tonight nonetheless. And I saw Blake from Reverence out there all day today with me checking out the wrestling. It was terrific. I think we ended up with 34 teams actually represented in this thing. And it was tremendously run. The fact that they got this thing done by like 3 o'clock today was phenomenal, just based on the number of wrestlers you had in this thing. Really organized. They wrestled first, third, and fifth place matches simultaneously in the main gym. So you could kind of keep an eye on all of them, but the championship matches were front and center. They made big announcements for all of them, so it was super cool. South Effingham took home the title. They have got a squad over there, state champs from Georgia last year, and I think 7A. There's a lot of A's in there, 6 or 7 A's. Maybe it's 6A, but really strong program over in Guyton, and they took home the title. Fort Mill was second, great 5A program from South Carolina, and then May River was third. Really strong showing for the Sharks.
That's excellent to take third place against that talented field. I mean, that's
and I mean they outdueled Fort Dorchester, Clover, Gilbert, Cane Bay, some Ashley Ridge, some really quality squads. Battery Creek came in 10th. Bluffton was 14th, and then everybody else was down there a little ways. But as far as individuals, we had some outstanding performances, including an individual championship from Gunnar DeGroat, and I've got a few highlights of his match here that we can check out against Josh Echevarria in the 175-pound final, Lowco on Lowco final. DeGroat is a monster. He did lose once this year, but he hasn't lost to anybody in 3A in a long time. Yeah, Coach Gearhart, I agree. Gunnar is a beast. I mean, even when he's in a bad position, he manages to just fight back to a good position and score. Jeffrey Strickland, the Stricklander, calls us the dynamic duo. Indeed. But yeah, Gunnar he's gotten so long. He's down to 175 now. He was at 190 for the Lowco Championship. So he's even more dominant at this weight class. And you'll see he's going to work the turn here. Got the wing. And he's just so long and strong that he's going to eventually get the leverage. And Echevarria's in a real bad spot now. Echevarria had a great week, though, their weekend to make the final. Forget who he beat in the semi, but he had a tough – he beat Calvin Clayton from Hilton Head in the semis, who had a nice week as well. He finished 5th in a solid bracket. But DeGroat, absolute monster. We also had a good Lowco on Lowco battle in the semis. The one we had wanted earlier, Denmark and Chavez. So this settled our Lowco hammer rankings at 285 because Big Bad Brad, as I'm calling him, got the better of Jerry. That was a great 285 bracket. Isaiah Black from May River or North Myrtle Beach ended up winning it, which was the stunner because he upset the Anderson kid, state champ from South Effingham, on the first day, caught him and scored back points and beat him in a decision. Anderson came back to get third, but it was a great battle on the other side of the bracket here with Denmark to get into the finals. Denmark had the better of Black in the finals for a good while, and Black was the biggest. I mean, he's got to be pushing the 285 weight limit, and he caught Denmark on his back, and it was all over. He put all that weight on him, and there was no chance. But Denmark is really solid. He solidified himself for me as the top heavyweight in the Lowco with the way he worked on Chavez here. Leroy Tyus also had a good week. He finished 4th at 285, and Bo Gwynn was 5th at 285, beat Chavez in the 5th place match from May River. And I thought Bo got host, quite frankly, against Isaiah Black from North Myrtle Beach, the guy who ended up winning it. I thought he won that semifinal match, or actually, I didn't think he won it, but I thought he should have gone to overtime. It was 2-2. They were on their feet, third period. Whole period, they were just, tying up, jostling. And both guys were backing up at times, and they weren't calling anything, and they both been warned for stalling. And then with 5 seconds left, they hit Bo with a stalling call for backing up, and it was less egregious than some that hadn't been called, I thought. And it was frustrating. And then he had a tough match with Tyus to get into the 3rd place match where it came down to the wire again. And it could have been a stalling call, could have not. But there's some really good battles in that weight class. But DeGroat wins it at 175, Echevarria 2nd, Denmark 2nd. 3rd place, Houston Rudisil, the freshman from May River, at 132. he had a terrific tournament. Didn't get gold, but he beat a state champ from North Carolina twice. Beat him on day one to get into the semifinals, where he lost to Sam Cherichello from Bishop, England, 2A, 1A state champ, who ended up winning it. But Rudy still came back through the backside and then beat the kid from North Carolina again in the third place match, which was really impressive. He's terrific. He's got a really legitimate shot to be a four-time state champ, which we have not had one of those around here. Will Morrow, third place at 215 from May River. Fourth place guy is Dylan Seaman from May River at 144 and Leroy Tice at 285. Fifth place at 126, Elmer Linares. 165, Kevin Summers from Bridges Prep. 175, Calvin Clayton from Hilton Head. 215, Mansion Whiting from Bluffton. He wasn't at the Lowco Championship, so we got to put him into the mix in the rankings there. Probably it's second behind Morrow. Bo Gwen at 285. And then sixth place, John Coker from Battery Creek coming through at 120.
Nice.
And Jeremiah Chavez at 285, finishing sixth. So good showings all the way around, and a bunch of guys got within, a round or two of the medals, which was good work for them. Some guys had disappointing weekends, but that's how it goes.
Yeah. Right. And the competition is stiff, and it's hard to expect everyone to be in that top tier at the end. And as you said earlier, if you finish in that top Elite Eight, I guess you could say, in a tournament like this, you've done something, because it is a challenging road just to get to that level, like to be one of these final guys fighting it out. So, props to all of these finishers you mentioned for being able to accomplish what they did this weekend in a prestigious event here in the Lowco, which is really awesome to see it take place right in our neck of the woods here in our neighborhood. So, kudos to Coach Powell and everyone who did a fantastic job organizing and putting this on, because, as you've alluded to, everything that they did to make this a top tier high school wrestling event, they did outstandingly, all the way through this weekend. So, through these past few days. So, props to them, and just great work all around. A good showing from our top guys, especially May River, third place as a team. I mean, that is good stuff against a field like that, to lose just to a dominant, dynastic South Effingham team, and then as you mentioned earlier, that second place squad, Fort Mill, yeah, that's a quality team from here at 5A.
Really good.
Yeah, excellent performance by May River and DeGroat for taking the Lowco's own individual title. But just talk a little bit more about the atmosphere and what the Powell and that Shark staff did to make this an exceptional event.
Well, first of all, he's going to need to hire Chase Gearhart as Michigan liaison to Michigan wrestling. He says he's got at least one team. He can get Constantine down here to join the party. There's enough Michiganders around here. We can probably get more, but no, I mean, it was a terrific environment. It was phenomenal. At the highest level, phenomenal wrestling. The finals were really good wrestling. Across the board, fifth and sixth matches, even, those are high caliber wrestlers. I was really impressed with South Effingham. They were impressive. They're really good. All their guys were strong. But no, it was exceptional. Everybody involved. I mean, and the wrestling community is sort of unique, I think, in ways where, like, we can't have an event without everybody pulling all the way. Like, we got to get more mats from other people, and like it's like a barn raising to get a wrestling tournament off the ground. It takes everybody. And I know Powell shouted out Coach Brewer, who ran the tournament, and he is aces, just phenomenal. I understand now. After watching him in action today, I'm like, okay, that's why Powell gets him. Like, he's the guy. He knows how to make this run smoothly. I saw Gilbert gave a shout out on Twitter and said the Sharks of May River know how to host a first class event, and I can't say it better than that. It was tremendous wrestling, outstanding wrestlers. JJ Peace from Cane Bay, who I got to speak with him and his dad after. He's going to be a guest at some point on the grind. He's tremendous. He's still undefeated in high school. He had a tough battle today with Gianni Botone from Lucy Beckham, who's a real force as well. And JJ beat him 3-2. You know, tough match, but even though it was 3-2, you felt like JJ was in control. He knew what he was doing. He got a takedown early, gave up an escape. Baton went down, got an escape. It was 2-2. JJ went down, got out, didn't give up a takedown. Just very, savvy, smart match. Did he what he needed to do to stay undefeated in his career against the guy he wrestles, he trains with, which is always interesting. You don't want to get caught in something because he sees it coming because he knows your stuff, and there was a lot of that. You had Reverence on wrestling, Reverence guys, and there's some guys from Charleston who come down to Reverence some as well. So lots of that kind of stuff, which you get in wrestling. It was first class. It was tremendous. And everybody who got a medal did something. You can bet on that because some really good guys were left, on the floor in the blood round, as you call it, the one before you get a medal. 6 guys get a medal, 7 and 8 they lost a match where if they won they would have got a medal. So that's always the biggest agony is to lose in the blood round. Maybe you go 3-2 or something, but you needed one more win to get some hardware.
Right.
That's a tough feeling, but there were a lot of good guys who got left out this weekend, and that's the mark of a really strong event, especially when you're going 6 deep on the medals and you still have good guys not getting one. That says something. But certainly, we see that not a whole ton of guys kept hardware, and most of them were 4th, 5th, and 6th guys. So we still got some work to do to, as the area goes to get up to where we want to be. But one thing I loved was how many middle school wrestlers I saw involved in the event in some way or another. Whether they're tapping people with the towels or what have you. They're out there, they're absorbing it, they're around it, and the enthusiasm's building for
That's
it.
cool.
And
that's what makes the wrestling community is for the kids to get involved. That next generation
100%.
of guys. So they're doing it the right way, and
girls, saw my girl Ella Claire Harwell out there slapping referees. I told her I wish we could find a 108 at McCracken who could beat her, but we can't. Challenge been laid down, but we can't find anybody who can beat her. She's tough. But no, good stuff, and definitely looking forward to. We're going to try to get Gunner on, but he's on his way to Florida tonight, so we'll definitely have to catch him another time. Yeah, catching a little break, but Gerhardt's LOL about Emma Claire, I believe. She's tough, man. She's really tough. I love girls wrestling. There was a girl who made it. I think there was a girl who placed from South Effingham who placed 6th at 113 or something.
That's really cool to see the girls, in a guys event, top tier guys, see a girl placing. That's outstanding. It's cool to see the rise of girls wrestling in general here in the Low Country, but it's not just here; it's everywhere.
Maybe she lost in the blood round,
but just to get close, that's doing something. So, kudos to her and these other females who are taking to the sport and making a splash. It's really cool.
I swore I saw one that had placed, but maybe I dreamt it. But she made a pretty good run nonetheless. I know that for sure. And I saw some of those middle school wrestlers out there. Next up, the girls. But anyway, let's shift gears a bit now and shout out the Lowco Booster Club. We've got a bunch of Lowco Booster Club members. We've got the Court Lifestyle Pros, Low Country natives Daniel and Debbie Court selling the Lowco Lifestyle on Hilton Head Island. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. My friend Chris Odom will get your floors so clean that your feet will thank you. Prime IV Hydration and Wellness now open in Belfair Town Village. Go see Max to get juiced up with your IV drip filled with all the vitamins and minerals you need. Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton. My guy, Dr. Ambrose Cole, MIZZOU. He'll get you cracked up and get your mind, body, and spirit feeling right before you leave. Eagle Creations, a great spot over on Argent Road for Argent Boulevard. Is that what it is? For promotional items, custom apparel, and custom gift baskets. Go see Bill and Mandy. Tell them Loco sent you. And Jay's Barbershop. Whether you need a haircut or not, if you're in downtown Ridgeland, you should pop over to Jay's and say hi, see what they're talking about, and grab some tacos on your way out. Either side, either way, whichever way you turn, whichever way you parked, there's tacos for you. downtown Ridgeland next to Jay's Barbershop. But Wes, since this is our last show of the year, 2023, before we shut her down for a couple days here, we'll be back with the Lowdown again on Tuesday to get you caught up on what's happening and get ready for the week ahead. But it's the last one for this year, so we wanted to look back on some of our best memories of the last calendar year, and you certainly have a much better memory than I do. So I'm guessing all the ones you come up with are probably the best ones. But yeah, hit me with some of your best memories this year.
Yeah, I just none of them are in order, but just off the top of my head, the ones that really remembered me the most in terms of memorable moments, and the ones that kind of stood out to me throughout the year. Patrick Henry, this was the first full school year this past year that we covered them, and they made some noise starting in the spring with that baseball championship where the joke was made about leaving early, and then they came back and won that miraculous game where they're down like 9-1 or 8-1 something. They're down at least 7 or 8 runs in that game when we left, and
it was over. It was over. It was over.
There was some magic that happened at the farm that night. So they rallied and they win the deciding game 3 in a neutral site contest to claim the championship. But man, just some miraculous stuff. And then the magic carried over to football season. We were both there for that championship game over at Charleston Southern, and man, that was something special. We've seen a lot of tremendous, well played, and memorable football games over the years with our teams, but this one, I thought the way they responded from that 14-0 hole, and just the back and forth nature of the game, and the way those Ferry brothers were able to step up at the end, everything you want in a state championship game. That was a phenomenal night of high school football, and the bond that we had with those kids. I thought, every team is. We've been able to talk with these young men, young women, but I think the love and support that this group and these kids had for myself and for you and for LowcoSports in general, that really struck a chord with me. And
I agree completely. And I would extend that. I would even kind of extrapolate that and just say one of my favorite memories of this year has just been the relationships we built in Hampton County. We've been building relationships in Beaufort and Jasper for a long time, and in Colleton for a slightly shorter time, and but to start to really get to know and make friends, one time, and Gerald Freeman are guys that like I consider friends now, and I'll give them a hug when I see them. And there's just and big G Daddy, and like we can go into hurricanes, and I used to feel like a fish out of water in Hampton, kind of. I didn't know anybody there. Now I feel like if I roll into Hampton County, into Estill or into Hampton or into Barnville, and I go into a restaurant, somebody's probably going to know who I am, and I'm probably going to know who they are, and we're going to have a good chat. And that's a good feeling, man. Like I love that. And I credit the folks out there for the way they have embraced us and shown the appreciation that makes it worthwhile for us to take the trek out there. Because it's no small thing. If we trek an hour out there and everybody turns up their nose at us and acts like they don't care if we're there, we're probably not going to go back. But they get hyped for us. They love the content. They share it out. They interact with it. They jumped into our sandbox and played fully. The Patrick Henry boys alone took us to another level the day that they did the shenanigans. That was like the beginning of the like realization of what my vision for these shows has been. And it's like been kind of slow to come to fruition, but that was the day that it was like, yes, this is what we're going for. And I'm not even joking a little bit about that. Like something clicked that day. And
totally agree.
I think we've been on a roll ever since. And I credit, the folks in Patrick Henry and Hampton County both for their willingness to play along with us. But that's a great one.
Yeah, I think going off of that, the memories that just that one live show we did after they won the state championship football game. I think that was the best piece of content that
was fun.
It's just in my opinion. obviously wasn't the longest or most complete and thought out, but just the emotion and talking with those kids after they achieved the goal that they've been working so hard towards, and
It was super
just
cool.
all the effort that went into that season, and just the excitement and fun that they had. I mean, they love to celebrate after they win, and man, just really enjoyed talking with them and just the raw emotions, because that's something
Yep.
that's you don't get to see every single time. But certainly
right.
Patrick Henry has made a mark. Seeing the last season basketball for Estill and Wade Hampton. Estill had a great run. Wade Hampton did too, and then them merging in the fall, becoming Hampton County, a monumental moment for sports in the Low Country, and to see that first football season, I mean, just it gives me chills thinking about what they did that year, what they accomplished. Zion Dobson, Mr. Football finalist, and so many guys you can count off who had unbelievable seasons for that Rob Hanna coach team, and so much fun heading over there. As you said, it was a long
Oh,
trek, but
man.
it's certainly worth it every time.
Every time. And, I'm glad you mentioned Rob Hanna, because that's another guy that I've gotten to know and come to really consider a friend, and a guy that I trust fully and would lean on for advice and things like that. Like that's a dude that I feel really grateful for him to have crossed my path. But shout out to Ashley Rudisell for the love. We appreciate it. Great to meet you today in person and talk with you. Great family, the Rudisills. I've really enjoyed getting to know them. Which is another thing. I mean, I've loved embracing, the way, I mean, this entire community, and as people find what we're doing and see why we do it, it's really cool to see it continue to gain steam and
to meet
momentum.
new faces. To meet new faces,
It's the
like one
best.
time and
One time. I mean, gosh. So how do you even separate all the great Hampton County memories from this year? That's kind of what I was getting at. It's
right.
like it all blurs together, because like the Estill basketball run was in this calendar year.
Yep.
And that was great fun. Like I went to Florence for the lower state finals. That team was so much fun to cover. Kayvon Chisholm, Xavier Garvin, Darius Brooks. I mean, just so many fun guys. So many heroes. Angelo Lewis, like I loved getting to know that kid. He was a dog. So many dudes. And then you have them merging with Wade Hampton, and that football run was so much fun. There's just so many characters. Ray, one time. I mean, it's just unreal. The Hurricane Walk, doing that game against Woodland at Hampton County, doing that game against Woodland at Hampton County for WSAV was an unreal experience. That was unreal. So I don't know how to separate all that stuff.
It just melded into one, but everything Hampton County, that was one of the high points of covering local sports, to see that, get off the ground, to see the success in that first season that had just, really a whisker away from state championship. I thought they had in the bag after Zion scored that long touchdown run in the second half against Oceanside, and thought if they won that, I feel like they definitely could have beaten Gray. But I mean, still, what a memorable season, and certainly a lot more in store coming for this football program in the coming years. But other memories, I look to USCB, inaugural season for men's and women's basketball. That was a groundbreaking moment. Just this, the seeing and interacting with Ron Fudal and Sharon Versa. I mean, that was really groundbreaking for this entire community, and just for myself to be a part of this historic moment. And I just remember all the energy and the crowds that were there for that first game, and the electricity. I mean, I've never seen anything like it here in the Low Country for something like that. So that was really special.
I agree completely. That's way high on the list, because it was really cool for the opener, and it's continued to be cool. Like I'm pumped to get back in there on Wednesday night to open up Peach Belt play against Augusta, which, by the way, it is Beaufort schools. Well, it's not just Beaufort County, I guess, but it's Education Day, Beaufort County Education Day. All K through 12 students, along with their parent or guardian, get in for free for both the men's and women's games. They'll start at 5:30 Wednesday night. So it's the Peach Belt opener against Augusta. Come out, support the Sand Sharks. Should be a great time. And we'll try to get either Bracken Lambert or, maybe we can effort Fudala or Dyer or somebody to come on and give us a little preview on Tuesday night before they get back after on Wednesday, because they've had a little break here, but I'm excited to see them get back at it. Sand Shark Hoops. No, that's a huge story and one that has only just begun. I mean, we haven't even finished the first season, but you can already see the long ranging implications of it, and it's going to be really special. So I agree that one's way up there. You also had another basketball one on there that I didn't witness that one, but
you were not there, but that was really cool to see, two local teams go up against each other in that complex over in Sumter for a state championship, and really well played game. Harry Skinner hit a bunch of ridiculous threes, including one at the buzzer, but it was a shot so for most of that, and Prep really served their dominance with the clinical way they run their offense. But that was cool. Of course, still the Christian County girls keeping that dynasty role, which we'll see this year. I think they still got a strong shot, but I think the gap is narrowing. There's some other quality teams over there in 3A, but I do think the Lady Eagles, the girls have a strong shot, but I don't know. They've had their ups and downs this year, but we will see if that will continue. But I think Prep is right up there again coming into the rest of this year. They look good recently, and Hilton Christian Academy never can count them out with the talent they have. But that was really memorable. And the last one I wrote down, a little off the board from some of the main events, because it kind of was out of the ordinary in a sense that didn't really happen in the Low Country. But when Carmen Majinski got that call to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and when I heard about it through social media, that was something that made me so proud and so happy, because that's a kid I knew from high school, and being able to cover his journey, and it kind of comes full circle for you, because it was his first story you wrote on the site, and then just about the journey that he went to South Carolina, and then getting drafted, and the COVID year and all that went through. Man, he has endured a lot, and just great to see him come out successful on the other side. And I think his career is just starting over there in Major League Baseball. So that struck a chord with me when I heard that news this summer.
Yeah, that's a great call. I definitely would have forgotten about that one, but that's a really solid one. I've forgotten about so much. It happens. So much stuff happens in a year, man. It's crazy. By the time you get to the end of it, it's like January, February. That feels like so long ago. It took me a second to be like, wait, that Estill basketball, that was this year? So much happens in the course of a year. It's hard to even think back to spring. And we didn't have, I think that Beaufort boys soccer run was pretty special in the spring. I would say overall, I know the football title was last calendar year, but still, I feel like it still rolled into a really special year for Beaufort High School. They had a really good run. That May River wrestling team last year was a lot of fun to watch. That group of kids, they had like 4 dudes that were absolute hammers, and you got to see them all like bang, 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 bang. So that was memorable to me. There was some epic that Hilton Head Prep boys game at Hilton Head Christian was pretty
there were some
intense.
good Raisins games still there.
Estill chicken fingers, though. The Estill chicken fingers. Those are way high on the list. Going to get them chicken fingers and cover playoff games. That was always fun. Man, I don't know. And then personally, for me, taking the Waves to Shipyard, to Cooperstown rather. Cooperstown rather. And being able, we had a whole show about it, but Mark Rennick's going with us, a guy that I've known since I got here, because he was calling games and working for the county in the rec department, and our lives just intersected so much, and he became a friend. And I'll go out to a game, he'll be calling a baseball game or a basketball game, and he'll pull up his shirt and he's got a One Loco shirt on under, and like so for him to be able to go to Cooperstown with this and have that experience with the boys and with him was really monumental to me, being able to continue to dive into coaching. Not only coaching baseball, but coaching a rec softball team this year that was so much fun. That's going to become a travel team, in the spring, coaching wrestling again, and being a part of the middle school athletics is that's a different thing too. Like club sports and travel sports are a totally different thing than school sports, and we talked about that with Rob last night. And you got to kind of meet the kids where they are. Not everybody's as committed as you are, or cares as much as you do. Some of them are there just because their parents told them they needed to pick a team for the winter or whatever, and they didn't think they'd make the basketball team. But it's been really cool to get in there and actually be a part of the school system and see in particular from the inside out how a lot of we get these ideas about rivalries and coaches not liking each other and all that stuff. Well, let me tell you what I see, at least at the middle school wrestling level, and it definitely carries over the high school level, is everybody is pulling in the same direction, and it's for the kids. And there may be one or two outliers that are pulling in a different direction, but everybody can spot them from a mile away, and they stay a mile away from them. And it's good, man. It's a healthy environment. Kids are getting good coaching, good mentorship, good instruction, across the school level at least. And we know certainly that, there's a lot of people doing good work on the outside too, to take kids to a higher level, which is what it requires. Some kids are going to top out at school sports, and that's okay. But they need to get the most out of it that they can for where they are. And then we need people with a little more expertise and a little more investment to take them a little further. But we're seeing it across all sports. And I guess that's what I love. The best memory about all of this is that as every day, pretty much now, we get on here and we talk for an hour or more, and it's almost exclusively positive news about our kids and our teams and athletes and kids who came through the system here and are now doing great things elsewhere, like Jalen Sneed, who had a great bowl game the other day. Cole DeMarzo also got a bowl dub. Hilton Head had a good run in the bowls. So, it's just all those little things that pop up over time. Nick Pringle's killing it in Alabama. Nick Pringle, March Madness, that happened this year.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great memory. Nick Pringle became a March Madness superstar this year.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because that was a lot of fun to see what he did and to see him become like immediately a household name, to see him lay down some dunks in a big stage. And I think Alabama's team is looking pretty strong again from what I'm hearing. So, great to see him continue to fulfill. It was a long journey for him. He started at Wofford, didn't like it there. He went over to junior college, and he had some success there. And now he's, putting in quality minutes for a top 10, top 15 team in the country, Division I. So that's and he was one of the first interviews we had in our podcast when he committed.
He was.
So
he was very early on. That's right. You got him. I wasn't available. You got him. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But no, we've had him on a number of times. He came on with us during the pandemic and talked about his experience during the Black Lives Matter rallies and things like that. So no, it's been, that's the thing. And you hit on it earlier. It's the relationships you build, the people you get to meet, the stories you get to hear and tell, that really make it all worthwhile. And that's why I did want to take some time to reflect tonight on, what has been a terrific year of sports in the Low Country. And it's been a pleasure to cover it with you, Wes, and to continue to build this platform so that we can continue to shine a light on the teams and student athletes here in the Low Country who are putting in the work and earning the accolades, but maybe not getting the attention that they merit from other outlets. We're trying to fill the gap. So we appreciate everybody who's been a part of that all season long, all year long. All of our sponsors, you hear about them on every show. If you want to join the roster, you can find me. I'm out there. I ain't hard to find. LowcoSports on all the social media. LowcoSports@gmail.com is the best email. You can even probably find my phone number floating around there, but just text me first, because I don't like to answer those.
And before we call it a show, thanks to all of you, our audience, and everyone who's interacting with us and commenting and helping out, joining our shows, and everyone who has helped made all that we do possible. So just want to thank our audience for being there, every step of the way, and providing, so many, important key additions to what we do here by just interacting, because I love seeing like all the comments that come up, especially what we
Oh
do with
yeah.
StreamYard. And I mean, it's been great to meet all the characters that have been a part of our Lowco sports journey here. And our podcast audience has been a big part of that. And we thank everyone
Oh
for
yeah.
continuing to tune in. Yeah.
Yeah, we want it to be a community because that's what it is. I mean, that's really what it's about. Is it's a community of people who are all invested in the same thing, and we view everybody who watches and listens as stakeholders, as well as all the student athletes, the coaches, the ads, trainers, everybody. We've all got a stake in these kids' present and future, and that's what we're trying to do, is just to celebrate them and connect some dots too. We talked with parents about like that. I love how you always ask them about their journey to get there, and I said, yeah, that's by design. We want the kids who look up to these kids to connect the dots to how do I become what they are, and we want them to understand that like there's there is a recipe, and that recipe is work hard and be relentless in trying to be the best that you can be. And the kids who buy into it, they're going to go as far as their natural ability will take them. And it's a beautiful thing to see when it clicks, and when you see them develop over time, and just the confidence that grows from that, and whatever sport you play. I mean, just success breeds success. And when you start to have success and you gain confidence and you start to have a little more success, it just becomes a mentality, a mindset. Yeah, it really does. It becomes a way of life, and it spills over into other things. And that's why you see a lot of people who are high level athletes become high level executives and things like that, because it really is a day-to-day mentality to do whatever you can today to become the best that you can be at whatever you do. So that's a big part of what we do. And we appreciate, as Wes said, all of you who listen and watch, all the interactivity. Again, I feel like we've taken it to another level this year, and I can't wait to see what we can do in 2024. It's going to be good times. But that's going to do it for tonight and for 2023 for Team Lowco. We'll be back with the LowcoSports Lowdown on Tuesday, and you can now find all of our shows on the Podbean app as well. We're still working on getting that all set up. We're going to have some patron tiers where you can get bonus content, bonus perks, all kinds of stuff. But my guy Adam Carroll out in Indiana, former Lowco resident, longtime friend, working on getting us launched over there. We got Under the Bus over there, as well as Red's Barbershop, and we got a new season of Red's Barbershop about to drop as well. So lots of great stuff coming from LowcoSports and Lowco Media in 2024. But for Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett, signing out for the first time the last time in 2023. And we'll see you next year. Until then, go Lowco.
The LowcoSports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing.